Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Matt Capper and this is another video on Raid Shadow Legends and another in our series of I Built Them So You Don't Have To. As is the long-standing tradition in Twitch, anytime we reach a level 5 hype train, I build the next epic that I pull or the next shard in Voids. And this time I have hit the jackpot. It is a champion I already have built. It's a champion I've always wanted to do a video on, but because he's kind of a no-brainer, I think, if you actually look at his kit. I haven't had the opportunity to do it, much like Miscreated Monster. So here we are. We are going to talk about and enjoy the video on Inquisitor Shamael. Inquisitor Shamael is a Void Affinity epic attack-based champion of the Sacred Order. Here he is. Let's talk about, first of all, he looks like a badass. I love the trench coat. He's got rosary beads, but I think he would use them in an unsettling way, like he's asking you questions while slowly flicking the beads from one side to the other. Kind of like you're atoning for your sins and he's just counting it. It kind of adds to his this kind of, he's a badass. He's a badass. He's Shaft. He's Shaft, middle ages Shaft. That's what I see about this dude. Don't want to fuck with him. He is the cool as Harrier is not, right? Like that's kind of the yin and the yang of it. His actual stats, you see HP 16, 680. Attack is a little bit low at 1288, but as you'll see, probably not really a problem. Defense 903, speed 101. Love seeing epics above 100 speed. It makes building them out so much easier. Crit rate 15, crit damage 60, resist 30, and accuracy at 0. Which is weird. They don't give him any starting accuracy when his Doom Tower aura is a 60% accuracy in all in Doom Tower battles. I gotta tell you, this is actually a very unheralded ability. A lot of people talk about Cantra. Well, he's got it as well. Plus, he can smack. So this is definitely an option for the Doom Tower. Not just, but definitely he's a Doom Tower specialist that you'll want to have in your crowd. And we'll show you what I mean by that in a little bit. And then we go Dauntless, level 1. Each critical hit fills this champion's turn meter by 7.5. Whenever an ally receives a fear or a true fear debuff from an enemy, this skill will instantly remove the debuff and fill the ally's turn meter by 15%. You need to counter, I don't know, like a salad, right? Anyone who puts true fear up or fear right here, here's your guy. He's going to counter that up very nicely with this passive. His A2 on a 3-turn cooldown attacks one enemy 3 times, will ignore 25% of the target's defense, will ignore a further 25% of the target's defense for each buff on this champion, places the True Fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn if this attack kills an enemy. And his A1 attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of decreasing the duration of a random buff on the target by 1 turn. Every time an enemy places a debuff on an ally, uses this skill against that enemy, these counterattacks will only deal 50% of the normal damage and cannot be critical. But even though they're only dealing 50% and can't be critical, the big thing is every time someone's putting a debuff on an ally, he's decreasing or has a chance, a 75% booked chance of decreasing a random buff on the target. So that's that's a good way for Madame Saris, right? She's going to throw 2 debuffs on each of them. He's going to start attacking and he's going to lower any debuffs on her. So it is a natural counter to that sort of Siffy Madame Saris combo. Is it enough? We'll see, but definitely it is something that can at least make I think, especially in PvE, can make those teams pay. All right, here we are in our test bed, Ice Golem 20, and here is our motley crew of people. For those unfamiliar with the series, I am going to take them in and just test their A3s, A2s, A1s as they may have them. In this case, we've got 2 abilities we're going to test. We like testing them against like champions. So we have our Venus in for the debuff, the AoE, defense down, weaken. And we're going to do a couple tests here. We're going to do a test without her as well, because I think that's where Shamael really shines. We're going to bring in a buffer and show you the kind of differences he can do under those situations, just as a good test, because he's only got 2 skills to test anyway. Then we have Rhodos. Is one of our harder hitting legendaries, at least on my account. We have Phoenix, who's a notoriously strong hitting champion. And then, of course, Knight Errant, who is the reigning champion for the hardest hitting epic ability in the game. So let's bring them in and test them out and check the damages here. It is definitely nice that we don't have to test multiple abilities. We only have the 2 abilities here. But I always like seeing these real world. Yes, we can check out their the modifiers on the multipliers on each of the abilities. I like seeing it in real world examples. So here is his A3, or sorry, his A2, which is going to, in this case, if we look at him, he's only got one buff on him, so it's going to ignore 50% of the target's defense, and then can put True Fear on if it kills an enemy. And let's just take him against, how about that one right there? Boom, boom, boom. Dead. 47 to 37. Probably, we have him, I believe, in Helm Smash. We'll check that in a little bit, but obviously hitting really hard. Compare that to the A3 here from Rotos, and 97 does not do the same damage. The A3 here, let's test it over here. Boom, 92, you know, a little bit better. He's in Savage gear as opposed to immunity gear for Rotos. But now here it is. Can he do better with Death Warrant? And we'll take him over here. And the answer is maybe. They can do about the same. That was a harder hit. Overall, that's a harder hit. You have to remember that Helm Smasher procs are in one hit. If it's 50-50, it's on or off. Whereas Inquisitor Shamael is doing 3 hits, which does have some distinct advantages, which means it has 3 chances to hit Helm Smasher, but it also has 3 chances to miss. So depending on the thing there. Also keep in mind that we may not use Helm Smasher. We'll talk about that in a little bit on Inquisitor Shamael because of his A3 ability. So there is his abilities. Doesn't quite hit as hard as, at least under this scenario, as Knight Errant. They both killed their champions, so they're just going to show the total health that they took, not the total damage they did. But you were looking at, you know, 140, between 130 and 140,000 for Inquisitor Shamael. Knight Errant did over 150, and the these two are 97 and 92. We're right in pace with each other, which I fully expected to be frank. Rotos obviously ignoring a ton of defense as well. So, you know, him and Inquisitor are close, but obviously Inquisitor just hitting that much harder. So the next scenario, let's check their A1s. Same scenario, we will debuff. Blessed Venus, so A1 here. Boom. 56, pretty standard. Check Rotos, 55, almost identical. No one's going to be the same as Phoenix. I think he has the hardest hitting A1 in the game. We consider it's guaranteed 2 hits, isn't it? 40, so that's 80,000. And then you have Knight Errant here. I could have probably hit her 65,000. So you're seeing there, Knight Errant is his multipliers are looking really good. Phoenix is still the best of the bunch. He's still the hardest hitting. 76,000 on that, and I think that's a poor. I think he didn't proc there because I've seen him hit as high as 90,000 on those on these tests. So we're gonna do another test here. Knight Errant, we have here pretty slow. Don't care. 39, 48, 241. He's probably the weakest build of them all, only because I no longer use him anywhere but Faction Wars, and you know, just for savings. I think you know, the fact that he hit harder on his A3. Even without great gear, I think just is telling about Knight Errant. I really, you know, I kind of slagged him when I did the video on him because I really abhor kits that don't do anything but, and his doesn't do anything but. Sure, yeah, it puts a weaken, but this should be killing somebody. So he hits this, but then what does he follow up? It doesn't really have a strong follow-up for a single target. I really like what Shamael's doing. It's adding some crowd control with the fears. It's adding some, his passive is adding a neat countermeasure to True Fear, whereas Knight Errant is really just hitting hard and that's it. But he is still a very amazing champion. If you, hey, if I pull this guy on my free-to-play account, I will instantly book him and go 6-star with him because he will be a game changer for the early to mid-game. But we're talking about Inquisitor Shamael, so let's find out the difference without debuffs when you bring these guys in. Or sorry, we're going to have debuffs, right? I brought in Lydia. So we're actually going to be giving them full debuffs. So he's actually going to be ignoring full defense here. And let's see that, remember, this has got debuff plus, and what's that going to hit for? 60, 50, 60? What we're going to do here is I don't want there to be a debuff because that's when he's going to be at his strongest with that A3 is when you don't have debuffs and you're relying on the ignore defense from the buffs. This scenario is where he can absolutely shine, and I'm pretty sure they'll both go first. I think this will give me 4 buffs. Yeah, 4 buffs. So that's 25% per buff, base 25. He's ignoring 100% defense here, and 50, 43, 47. So that's huge, right? Because that's an unbuffed amount. To put that in perspective, unbuffed, he comes in, suddenly he's only hitting for 55. Knight Errant with his big badass swing did kill 128. He lost about 30k damage. So if you do not have a debuff, or your debuff is down, you only have one debuffer, so we go into the second round, that's where Shamael is going to shine, because he can hit equally as hard. All right, here's the team here. We've got no debuffers. We did bring a revive because we do have some squishy heroes. But just to know the options you might have, absolutely taking care of everyone. Right? Boom. The block, Phoenix is such a champ. This might be my favorite, outside of probably I really like Mistress of Hymns, who I didn't bring in here. I would say at least these three for nuking champions might be my favorite epics. They just do so much, and they do it so well. They take out the trash. They like Phoenix. His kit is amazing. Shamael is just hit so hard, and Alika. Every time I more and more warm up to using her, despite the books. Like normally you say, look, I don't want to spend those kind of books. I think it's too much. It's ridiculous. We've talked about all the memes. She uses more books in the library. She could be the Great Library of Alexandria. How could she be a barbarian when she's so well read? Blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, honestly, I've seen a lot of 10 to 12 book champions that aren't as good as her at 18, and she's probably better than most 2 champions who are 9 books. So if there's ever a champion, I'd be willing to say, hey, look, you know what? Put the investment into it. It hurts, but once you've done it, once you've gone through that, you'll be fine. And I think she's the one. I think that if there's anyone I can say that about, it's definitely Alika. And Shamael, I mean, we're talking about every other champion here, but Shamael, I mean, look at it. Who's the champion I need to get rid of? Oh, that guy? Sure, we'll do that. I sometimes question who they think is the most important target to kill. But hey, look at him go. Give him some buffs, which we have here, and he's gonna do business. There, boom, another one dead, right? And I think Phoenix has a conditional defense down, which occasionally he lands. But other than that, we're not looking at any debuffs. We're looking at a block buffs, which is good on the enemy. But other than that, look, this is just strictly the power of this team's ability, especially his. Look at that. Boom. Full health, dead to nothing. Obviously I did a faster time with Deacon, but sometimes you don't have those options. And absolutely the point of this was to show you that Inquisitor Shamael, put this into perspective, did more damage than everyone but Alika. And Alika has an AoE, a hard-hitting AoE, as well as 2 hard-hitting abilities of her own. So that one that ignores defense as well. So when you look at that, when you look at what he did, plus adding that turn meter control, plus adding the crowd control with the fears, he's a great champion that's going to do very well. Now imagine this when you put it on a team with stronger supporting cast, right? You take Melg out, you put in Deacon. You take out Gorgrab, you put in, say, Miscreated Monster. Now you've got some crowd control, you've got some turn meter, and you can go a lot faster. I think that Deacon shows you what he can do. We took him into this secret room, but he can be used anywhere. I've used him in a couple areas. He's also really good against bosses where you need to do tons of quick damage. Unfortunately, I wouldn't use him for a speedrun on the Magma Dragon. If you have him, you can, but Phoenix is the better one for that. So is Alika. If Alika hits twice, it's game over because she hits so hard. And Phoenix, same thing with his A1. So they both kind of outpace. But if you need that third person to go with an ally attack group and a debuffer, I use Lydia. I think. Shamael is there, but do keep in mind that his A1 part of that ally attack is kind of second tier as opposed to these other two. But that A3, right? Because you still get to attack the A3 afterwards, and that's where, man, he does so much damage. So there you go. Here is my Inquisitor Shamael build. You saw we are maximizing his crit damage. His attack is a little lower than I'd like, but that starting attack does make it a little bit difficult. And we did keep him with accuracy by using an accuracy banner, just so we're full disclosure here. And we were managed to get 39-21 on the attack, 235 accuracy, and that beautiful, beautiful 325 crit damage, which is doing a ton of work, especially when he's ignoring 100% of defense as well. That's what's putting people down. If you've ever watched Murder's video on attack versus crit damage, you can kind of get a good correlation of where to go with that. You can go more attack, less crit damage. It's up to your discretion on how you want to build out your champions. But I thought, you know what, this is a good way to do it. We're not going to put them in Savage because we don't need to ignore defense because we already are. And that's same with the Masteries. The big thing here is I was trying some different things. I like that first hit, and I want Flawless Execution. There's no point in putting him in Helm Smasher because if you're pairing him correctly with teams that buff, a Duchess, a Siphi, a Mausoleum Mage, or a combination of three, to get those three buffs on him right before he attacks, then you're wasting Helm Smasher. Sure, his A1 can benefit from Helm Smasher, but it also can from Flawless Execution. So I think Flawless Execution is the better way to go. The rest of this stuff is just how you decide. Like I said, I wanted this cooldown because he's only got one skill on cooldown. So who cares about random? We know which skill is getting on cooldown, and this is actually an OP ability. I also wouldn't mind Cycle of Revenge. This is a dead ability, so I would maybe look to rebuild him for a little bit more accuracy in his artifacts and then take him out of the support tree. I only have a single roll on his crit damage neck, so if I could get a double or triple on that, that could make up for the support, and we could run him down the defense line, maybe get him to that ability to counterattack Retribution or that Cycle of Revenge, or even the third one. So there's kind of the thoughts that I have on his abilities, but that's how I have him built. Let's do one more test here before we sign off. Let's take him into the arena. So in this particular case, I know I'm going up against with the Warlord. I'm not liking the Warlord, I'm going to be honest with you, but we're going to give this a try. God, they also have... This is not the way I wanted it to be. Is she fast enough right now? I'm going to say no. I just want to test this. I want to see. You know what? I know we got to bring in someone else. I think I might be in trouble here, but I want to test this. If we can get this, it'll be epic. Oh, we don't need her. We need her. If we can get this, it'll be epic. If we can't, it'll be... I won't put it in the video. So I consider it a win-win. Hey, Shammy. ShamWow. There you are. All right. Can we one-shot him? Boom. Done. Game over. See? Okay. To be fair, I have this very poorly. I have a very poor build here. I haven't built this team well. But even with that, even with all that garbage, the end of the day, what I wanted to see happen happened. So ignores defense. She's dead. Like, it's over. So, I mean, that wasn't... I apologize for... I probably should have better put the team together. But I guess at the same point, that's kind of the point. This wasn't exactly a pushover team. That was a good team. But I was able to whittle him down. And then when he got his turns to go, I mean, he one-shotted the Mortar Macabre, who, if he didn't, probably would peril and kill one of my teammates. So right off the bat, boom. Also, then he was able to one-shot a potentially high defensive Valkyrie. And he nearly took out Warlord with only one buff. So if we would have timed that a little bit better, he would have been gone right away. So I think that shows you the kind of opportunity you have. Again, this is a good team, right? It's Ethan. Everyone knows Ethan from Gods and Legends. I don't know, but final thoughts on Inquisitor Shamael is he is an amazing champion. If you have him, build him. He's gonna help you out. He'll help you out in Faction Wars, Doom Tower, Arena. You know, probably the later game you go, the more specific the counter ability he has. But I think in the mid game, you being able to erase anyone early to mid game in an arena battle gives you an automatic up. I would love to have him on my free-to-play account alongside my Elaine. I would probably be winning a lot more battles, and I'd be a lot further ahead. But regardless, great kit. He's got that extra little bit. Single target champions need something with them. They can't just be single target champions. I say it 1,000 times. He's got turn meter boost. He's got remove fear. He's got place fear. And he's got ignore defense. All of that into a 2-person kit. I also want to mention here that the best way, in my opinion, to use him is not the way I'm using him. I put him in Savage Gear so he can really hit really hard. But I think the key here is to put him in a defense tree, offense defense tree, get enough accuracy so that you can make that happen without the accuracy tree, the support tree, and then put him in reflex gear for that 40% chance. This is one of the few champions that I hate reflex gear 90% of the time, but this is one of those champions, a 3-turn cooldown. If you can reduce that cooldown through his masteries, through through turn meter boosts and through reflex gear combined, you get those extra turns on that A2, and he's going to do work for you. I don't have anything. I don't think you need to fix his kit. I don't have any problems with it. I think he's a top tier champion that's going to help you progress in many different areas of the game. So just build him out. I got nothing else to say, but thank you for watching the video. I apologize for the poor editing. I don't know. I'm hurrying myself because I need to get videos out. It's been a busy week for me. So I apologize for the editing, but the material is there. And at the end of the day, if you have them, build them. If you have them, smoke them. If you have them, build them. And why wouldn't you? Because he's like a cool Inquisitor shaft. And I think the crossbow, he's cooler than Harrier. I don't know what else to say. Other than thank you for watching the video. Please be kind to one another. Stay safe. And we'll see you in the next video.